We're gonna learn about some interesting things. Right. First of all, let's just forget this as a whole. Now, the first thing is that in polity, you can expect 10 to 15 questions every year, right? No, despite of the fluctuating trends, these numbers make a lot of sense, right? So we're gonna start with chapter one. There are many YouTube videos which says that you should start with, the core, political stuff. But personally, I like to go from, the first to the last chapter. That's how I do stuff. So I'm gonna upload the videos accordingly. So our first chapter is historical underpinning, right? Now, the first thing is that, we're gonna focus mainly on the prelims related stuff, right? This will build our base. And then, when the mains, is close, I'll upload the videos accordingly. So the first topic is regulating act. Right. What we don't realize while studying is that the more we know about the basics, the background, the more we're gonna remember stuff. You know, so regulating. The first question which should come to our mind is what would it regulate? Would it regulate the EIC? Yes, it would. So it would regulate EIC. But why? Why would it regulate the EIC? Because the story starts from Battle of Buxar. Right, that's the closest event which you can imagine. Battle of Buxar, 1764. So here, the trio, as I like to call it, which had Shah Alam II and two other players, they lost to the East India Company. So, to appease them, the Mughal emperor decided that I would, you know, give the Diwani rights of Bengal, Bihar, and Orissa to the East India Company. When he did give the divine rights of Bengal, Bihar, and Orissa to the East India Company, rampant corruption began to happen. Corruption which you couldn't encompass in a single sentence. This led to the famine and the bankruptcy of the East India Company. So imagine a company created to trade in the East, not only India but Southeast Asia as well. It goes bankrupt. It goes bankrupt. Right. The charter of this company was granted by Queen Elizabeth herself. So, would like to imagine if I was the owner of the company or the shareholder of the company, I would like the British Parliament to bail me out because it was a significant entity. Like we have, too big to fail banks This was the same situation with EIC. But bailout comes with conditions, always. So the British Parliament decided to keep a condition that we would regulate you if you want a bailout. Right. So regulations did came in. Let's look at the problems and the regulations accordingly. Right. Problem number one, lack of centralized authority, because of which there was less accountability. So let's create a centralized authority. So Governor of Bengal became the Governor General of Bengal, right? And the governors of Bombay and Madras were subordinated to him. Second, if there is corruption, you should have a mechanism to keep checks, right? So we created a Supreme Court. Elijah Mfe was the CGI plus three puny judges. Number three, we would forbid, as I'd like to call it, company servants to engage in private trade, right? Plus accept bribes, plus no accepting bribes, right? The same logic, corruption. So here we see that the regulation has, begun.